Nithyanandam Paramasukadam Kevalam Jnanamurtim Dvandvatitam Gagana Sadrusham Tattvamasya Dilaksham Ekam Nityam Vimalamachalam Sarvadi Sakshi Bhutam Bhavatitam Trigunarahitam Satgurum Tam Namami. Nithyanandam, and welcome to a very special satsang here at Nithyananda Peetham, Bengaluru Adinam. As you all heard in today's Nithyananda Times video magazine, yesterday was a groundbreaking day for Inner Awakening participants. I think from December 2016, every single Inner Awakening that happens here, we say the same thing. It's a breakthrough. It's a first time ever. It's so exciting. But it never ceases to be true. For the first time in December 2016, Swamiji initiated all the Inner Awakening participants into manifesting Shaktis, the powers of Sadashiva. And it was huge. People were seen through the third eye. They were able to recognize words in the Krista Shila, one spiritual alchemy product. They were able to experience body scanning, just looking at somebody and describing the medical conditions going on within that person's form, and remote viewing. Between December and now, every Inner Awakening that happens, we see a greater number of participants expressing a higher number of these Shaktis. Whereas in December, everyone experienced one Shakti. In the next Inner Awakening in February, the crowd all experienced at least 2, then at least 3. And now, for the very first time ever, Swamiji has initiated Inner Awakening and Sadashivoham and Shaktipada participants into materialization. This is the depth dimension. Depth is the dimension relating to the being, not the logic or the creativity only, but the very core of who we are is that depth dimension. This dimension expresses in Shaktis that we refer to as consciousness over matter, when we're able to tune our will and actually move physical objects, such as rolling a coconut, or even cracking and resealing a coconut. But yesterday, the way Swamiji introduced this Shakti, even during the initiation itself, we could all see this is going to be something huge. Those of you who have experienced the mandala process will know that one of the instructions Swamiji gives is for us to hold the sacred Atmalinga and keep it either on the Anahata chakra or the third eye, or the Anandagandha. And typically what we'll do is we'll hold that Atmalinga in place while Swamiji chants the sacred mantras. This fills us with energy. It helps us experience the Shaktipada, the oneness with Sadashiva himself. So what happened yesterday in the mandala process that was so unusual compared to the experience we typically have? Almost everyone who was seated in that mandala, when Swamiji started to chant the sacred verses, the Atmalingas were literally jumping out of our hands. This means that the vibration, the energetic frequency radiating through these pure spatika crystals, these pure spatika lingas, was so high that participants weren't able to hold on to the deities. For the first time ever, Swamiji actually had to give an instruction during the initiation process for everyone to hold the linga with both hands, just to keep it in place. You can imagine what kind of an energy was unleashed in this hall when even before the manifesting Shakti session began, solid matter was jumping by itself. So now, I'm going to invite some of the participants who experienced this breakthrough initiation and manifestation to share their experiences of yesterday's materialization process. First, I'd like to introduce someone very auspiciously named for this particular sharing session. I'd like to invite Ma Shakti.
Nithyanandam, I'm sure all of you all are just as excited as I am. This past few days has been really mind-blowing. And I come from Malaysia. And my experience with Swamiji started only in February. And after that, it has been a roll. Here, I would like to take the opportunity to thank my brothers and sisters of the Malaysian Sangha for causing this reality for me. And my experience here, I just feel that every minute, doors of possibilities keep opening up, opening up, opening up. And it is so amazing that all of us were able to manifest all the Shaktis. And the breakthrough for me happened yesterday after the mandala. And we were sitting, and Ma Mahayoga gave instructions, and we were supposed to materialize. And I was looking at my palm, and nothing was happening. And, I just I remember the words that she said. Just keep scanning your palm and removing every blind spot. So that is just exactly what I did. And immediately, there was this pulsating feeling in my palm. And I just ignored, and I was just like feeling oneness with Swamiji. And after a few minutes, when I looked, I saw vibhooti around this area. And of course, I was shocked, but the doubt was still there. And I smelled it. It smelled like vibhooti. And the last confirmation came when I looked at it and I thought of Swamiji, and tears started flowing down from my eyes. That was the confirmation that this is true. So with that, the feeling of oneness is the one which actually helps everything materialize. And with that, I also started having this feeling of deep gratitude, bhakti, love, and more than that, responsibility. I have vowed to myself that I will continue enriching and causing to as many people as I can and make everyone enjoy this beautiful feeling of oneness with Swamiji. Thank you.
Such a beautiful experience. And I can definitely understand that excitement to make as many people as possible enjoy this. Because where else on planet Earth can you sit for maybe 1 hour or 2 hours with a living avatar of Sadashiva himself, then suddenly sacred substances are just appearing in your bare hands? It's amazing. So next I would like to introduce Shrikantji.
Nithyanandam, I'm Shrikant Iyer. I work as a manager of data engineering at Facebook in Silicon Valley. I came to this inner awakening primarily to get some healing done for my mother. She got recently a surgery on her hip, and I thought the best thing for her would be to bring her here for inner awakening. In fact, the best thing anyone can do for their parents is to bring them here to Swamiji. I've done inner awakening before. My last one was Sadashiva, which was out of this world. But I can tell from the bottom of my heart that this is the most mind-blowing inner awakening I've ever attended. And that's primarily due to the Shaktis Swamiji is giving. And Ma Swarupa Priya has already talked about the length, breadth, and depth initiation. Length is where you can download any logical thing from cosmos, like numbers and arithmetic and any logical thing. So for example, I was sitting with a Balasant from Gurukul, And I asked her for the diameter of the moon. And Google says it's 139,866. And she looked at the banyan leaf and she said 139,681. And that was very close. And there is a difference between what Google is saying and what she is saying. But most probably, she is right, because Jupiter is a gaseous planet. And, you know, it's just mind-blowing, right? And then, I mean, the Shaktis are so amazing, and I can keep talking about them, but yesterday was one of the biggest initiations. Swamiji sat in the center of the mandala for 1.5 hours, and he asked us to bring out our Atmalingas. And he said Atmalingas need to be treated carefully because they are almost like an atom bomb, a spiritual atom bomb. So we were asked to hold the Atmalinga against our Ananda Gandha. And then Swamiji started initiating us. And it was one of the longest initiations I've ever been through. But after that, we went on to manifesting the Shakti of materialization. Now, materialization has been described in various literatures and in, you know, all the scriptures of Hinduism. But we've never really, you know, seen it happen in front of us until, you know, Swamiji came to the planet Earth. And then we started seeing a few people do it here and there. But yesterday was mind-blowing, right? Because there's a whole batch of inner awakening and Shaktipada participants were sitting in initiation with Swamiji. And after the initiation, you know, we had a manifesting power session. And at the end of manifesting power session, everybody was raising their hands, asking Ma Mahayoga whether, you know, whatever they are saying in their hand, what kind of a thing that is. And Ma Mahayoga didn't have enough time to go around, see each and every participant's, you know, hand and see what they had materialized. So during the manifesting power session, I was really sleepy, but, you know, Ma Mahayoga said, just be in oneness with Swamiji and, you know, see what happens. So I was there and I was trying to sleep, and I actually wanted to materialize an akshada, and I was looking at my right hand. After a while, I mean, we had cleaned our hands before, so we knew it was completely clean and there was nothing in there. But after a while, I kept looking at my right hand and nothing was there. And after a while, I noticed that there were two, you know, tiny akshada things that materialized on my left hand, right here. And I showed it to my partner, and he said, yes, that's definitely, you know, something solid. So solid matter starts materializing just with oneness with Swamiji. And this is a huge happening. This is, I mean, Swamiji is the greatest happening on planet Earth. Because he's bringing all the ancient sciences alive in this day and age. And this has huge and tremendous impact to the Earth, to the planet Earth and all the human beings as we know it, because the things that we materialize are from another dimension, another space, carries a different energy. And it has a great potential for healing. Everyone knows Sri Satya Sai Baba. He used to materialize vibhooti from his hands. Now, imagine if Swamiji initiates thousands of people to do the same. Wouldn't it be awesome that, you know, there's no need for people to seek healing in, you know, hospitals or have this whole pharmaco-industrial complex whose only incentive is to keep people sick. Here we have people materializing and giving other people, you know, healing vibhooti, kumkum, and other matter that can penetrate not just their physical being, but even, you know, at the deeper levels. So I think this is a great happening, and I'm glad I was here to witness it. And I'm just, you know, waiting to see what happens next. Nithyanandam. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you for the beautiful sharing. And I think so many of us, probably all of us, echo that sentiment. We are just waiting to see what's going to happen next. If someone had told us 2 years ago that one day, not even at the halfway point in the Sadashivoham component of inner awakening, we'd be having a glimpses. You all know usually these kinds of sharings happen on the last day of a program. If somebody had told us, not even at the end of the program, we'll have a group of people rushing to the stage to share which sacred materials materialized in their hands, what would we have thought? Swamiji is constantly bringing us to that next level of wow factor. And I think that we don't really need to stretch our imaginations to understand that he is definitely going to initiate not only thousands, but millions of beings into this sacred materialization. Once that critical mass happens, once so many people on planet Earth are able to scan somebody's body and give a clear description of the functionings within it, or look anywhere into space and describe exactly what's there, somewhere they've never visited before, or answer any question more accurately than Google. And this is coming from an executive at Facebook, so if he says it's more accurate than Google, I think we should believe him, right? When so many of us start manifesting these Shaktis demonstrably, the world will definitely not be able to doubt that Sanatana Hindu Dharma is real, and that Sadashiva himself is here in form, just blessing all of us. With that, I'd like to invite Isha to share the sweet experience she had yesterday.
Hi, my name's Isha, and yesterday I manifested the power of materialization. Even before in last programs, I got third eye and remote vision and body scanning, but yesterday it was really cool because I got materialization. At first, during the process, I could only see the color change in my hands. I didn't really see anything forming. But after, during the healer's darshan, I saw some kumkum forming in my hands, and then I saw some akshata and little pearls forming in my hands. So I thought, wow, that's really cool. And then I thought, wow, I really doubted myself when I was in the manifesting powers session, and maybe that's why I didn't get it, because I didn't really believe that materialization was actually going to happen. So now that I did it in the darshan, I was like, wow, I didn't know that I could do it, but now I don't have any more doubt. So yeah. So, yeah, that's it. Okay.
Thank you. Actually, what more is there for her to say? She looked at her palm, kumkum, akshata, and sacred pearls materialized. How cool is that? Next, I'd like to introduce Keshav to show the experience of what he materialized yesterday. Please come.
Hello everybody, I am Keshav and I am in 3rd grade. I could manifest most of the Shaktis before I tried out materialization, and it was very fun, and I felt very happy when I tried it. And when during the initiation into the materialization, I got very tense because it took so long, and I got restless. And then during the materialization, the restlessness just went away because I had the feeling connection with Swamiji, and then. And I just scanned my palm, and then when I opened my eyes, there was something like yellow on my hand, and then so she said it was matter, but it turned out to be akshata, and then so I got really happy, and then I scanned my hand again, and I was like, I hope something else comes, and then. And then when I opened my eyes, nothing came, so I got sad. And then I didn't really care anymore. And then she was talking, and then she was talking, and then my thumb started to itch a lot, and then I just checked on my thumb, and there was a big black mark right there, and it wasn't there before. So I was going to tell her, but I got scared because she might. I doubted it was I materialized it, and then I scanned my palm again, and then on my wrist I had honey everywhere. And so I believed it was true, and I lost all my doubt. Yeah, and that's it.
How many of you feel like that's the sweetest emotional roller coaster you've ever ridden? Thank you, Keshav. Actually, one thing he mentioned that I think we should all remember, Swamiji actually said this when he first initiated Inner Awakening participants into the power of third eye reading a couple of years ago. He said that anybody who feels really eager to prove him right will block the Shakti from materializing, from manifesting, because they'll feel a vested interest in the success. So if they're really hoping for it, they're pushing it away. The same way, anybody who really wants to disprove Swamiji, to prove it wrong, naturally, they're pushing away the Shakti. They won't be able to materialize. It's when you're in that beautiful space of just oneness, just letting Swamiji do what he needs to do, that the materialization happens. So no wonder all that honey appeared on his wrist at the point that he would describe when finally he didn't care. And I can't wait to see what more comes from Keshav, because so many different sacred substances coming from one pair of hands. There should be something really, really amazing, especially because Ma Maha Yoga has told all of us through her great wealth of experience, when this black matter appears on the hands, it's the beginning of a solid object. And before introducing our last participant to share, I'd like to share my own experience with materialization. Actually, when Swamiji first initiated us into materializing, it happened via two-way video conferencing back when Nayana Diksha was brand new in 2011. And that day, it was the night before Meenakshi's sacred Tirukalyanam in Madurai. And Swamiji said from the Madurai Meenakshi temple, Akshata would appear for 10 devotees around the world. At the time, I was living in Vancouver, Canada, and I wasn't a very close member of Sangha, so I wasn't really expecting anything. And Swamiji said this Akshata will land within 24 hours. He said this is the amount of time it would take for that matter to travel across the world. About 12 hours later, I was at work, and one of my colleagues looked at me and said, "Why do you have turmeric smeared on your forehead?" And I told her, "Are you talking about my bindi?" Because it's actually called kumkum. She said, "No, I'm not talking about the red dot that's there all the time. I'm talking about the big orange-colored smear above it." So I ran to the mirror, and sure enough, there was a huge spot of akshata. And when I confirmed that by emailing one of the Adinavasis, I thought this is something really mind-blowing. And sure enough, 10 people around the world experienced that materialization. And after that, it got so exciting every day when we would tune into the live satsang. Swamiji would show us where vibhooti or kumkum or akshata or sandal powder had materialized on his padukas around the world. But again, even then we wouldn't have been able to fathom, even before the end of an inner awakening, all of these sacred substances materializing in people's hands. Now at that time, we discovered whenever a solid object was forming, like a rudraksha, or a gemstone, or a deity, even small deities will appear, it first comes as black matter, just as Keshav had described. And recently, when all the Adinavasis were sitting together in the temple, experiencing materialization, so many of us looked at our palms, scanning them. First, we ensured our hands were completely clean. And it looked almost as if we had just put our hands in a big vat of Nyananjana. They became so black that it's really, truly exciting to see what more Swamiji is going to send. With that, I'd like to invite our last Inner Awakening participant for the day to share. Inner Awakening or Shakti Pada?
Inner Awakening.
Good. Inner Awakening participant. So please, Aya, you can introduce yourself and your experience.
Sure. Nithyanandam. I'm Vamshi Reddy, GK from Bangalore. And I thank my family and friends who encouraged me to be here. I thank Swamiji and the entire ashram team. My first awakening experience happened in my dream almost 10 years back. I had come here, and then for some reasons I couldn't make it up. Last 2.5 months, Swamiji was always there in my heart, and I always was a devotee of Satya Sai Baba. And then I had a wide experience at House Swami that I would want to have a living experience of my Guru. Then after some time, I had a little conflict. Should I accept Swamiji? And then this Swamiji and that Swamiji, and so many Swamijis are there. Then in my heart that I have definitely given you an experience, and then this, our Paramahamsa Nithyananda Swamiji, definitely you can go ahead. That was a heartfelt experience to me. Then I felt comfortable, and most of the time whenever I see Swamiji, I always see Amma or Satya Sai Baba in him. Then I got convinced definitely I'm in the right place. That was the best thing. Second, whenever I see Satya Baba, that he is manifesting the miracles, vibhooti, kumkum, how is that I could experience it? That was the last fascinating 15 years, 20 years back for me. Now this has become a reality after attending the Inner Awakening program. And yesterday, I couldn't believe it. Is this me doing? And this, through me it's happening. And that was an awesome experience about it. And whenever the manifestation happened, there was a huge shift in my inner being, as well as the connected to my higher self. And through Nithyananda, instructions were there. I just simply followed it, and I had a great experience. And I'm sure my team also, my colleagues and my participant, and the entire hall was filled with energy. And the first time we had that Shakti Pada with intense, most of the people raising their hands, that everybody experienced it, and that was an awesome. This just is a beginning experience for me, and I'm sure a lot more to come through me, and I definitely have a role to play, and I definitely do the best things to make it happen, to reach more number humanity. Thank you, Nithyanandam.
Thank you so much, Vamshi. And definitely he's right. We all have a role to play, and there's so much more yet to come. Actually, Swamiji has told us that in the very near future, when someone enters the gates to Nithyananda Pitam, Bengaluru Adinam, and enters the welcome center, as of now, when they enter, there's a small dish of vibhooti and a small dish of kumkum. They're welcome to take and apply. But very soon, instead of a dish of vibhooti and a dish of kumkum, there will be a Nithyananda yogi standing there with open, bare hands, ready to materialize the vibhooti and materialize the kumkum for visitors to apply. Earlier, a lot of us were thinking that near future means something like this might happen within the next 2 years. But I'm feeling like after the success of yesterday's initiation with Inner Awakening, it could be a matter not of years, but of weeks, who knows, maybe even days. It's so exciting, and I think I echo all of our sentiments when I say what a huge blessing it is to be here now, when Sadashiva himself is gracing us on a daily basis and awakening Shaktis we once would have found unfathomable. So thank you so much, Swamiji, for blessing all of us like this. And thank you all who shared today. Those who didn't share, I look forward to hearing what you materialize very soon. Nithyanandam. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudashyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Tat Sat Sarvam Sat Guru Padukarpanamastu. Om Nithyanandam.